They say houses remember, not just the laughter or the footsteps, but the silences, too. After my father, Aiden Hale, passed away, I returned to the house where I grew up, an old, weather-softened place on the edge of the town, where the wind always sounded like someone whispering your name. The first night back, the house felt too quiet, like it had been holding its breath, waiting for me. His shoes were still by the door, his coffee mug still by the sink, as if he had only stepped outside for a moment. But he wasn't coming back. I didn't sleep. I just lay awake, listening to the floorboards creak in the dark, the house remembering him, even when I tried not to. The next morning, I went to the attic. I don't know why. Maybe grief is just another word for searching. The attic smelled like dust and old summers, wooden beams, boxes, faded blankets. But what caught my eye was a frame wedged between two crates, a photograph. I pulled it out, wiped the glass, and froze. 4 people stood in front of a weather-beaten seaside cabin, smiling into the sun. My father, Aiden, younger, relaxed. Happy myself, maybe 8 years old, small and unaware. Marcus Hale, my father's brother, my uncle. His hand rested on my shoulder like we were the closest people in the world, and a woman I didn't recognize, with ocean wind hair and eyes that knew secrets. I didn't remember this moment. Not the day, not the woman, not the cabin. The photograph felt like someone else's memory, but what made my chest tighten wasn't the picture. It was the writing on the back. My father's handwriting. Distinct, steady, familiar. If you ever find this, don't trust Marcus. I read it again and again, as if the sentence would change. But ink doesn't change. Only people do. My hand started to shake, not with fear, but with something colder. Recognition. Marcus had always been around when I was younger. Laughs too loud, promises too big, eyes that didn't quite match his smile. Then one day, he disappeared from our lives without explanation. Father never spoke about him again, and I never asked. Or perhaps I didn't want the answer. Now the answer was sitting in my hands, heavy, sharp, real. Lightning cracked outside, sudden, violent. Rain began tapping the windows like impatient fingers. The house felt smaller, the air tighter. I sat down on the attic floor, the photograph in my hands, and replayed the sentence in my mind. Don't trust Marcus. Not be careful. Not stay away. Not he changed. Don't trust him, like a warning meant to stay hidden. Until now. My father was a quiet man. He didn't waste words, so why this? Why now? I stood, heart pounding, and noticed something else. The picture frame felt heavier than a photograph should. I turned it over. There was a slight bulge behind the cardboard backing. Slid my nail under the corner and peeled it. Open, a small rusted key slipped into my palm. Cold, old, and tied with a piece of faded red thread. The kind of key that doesn't open doors you see every day. My breath stilled. Whatever this key opened, whatever truth my father left behind, it was something he didn't want spoken aloud, something he buried, something he wanted me to discover on my own. The attic light flickered. The rain grew louder, and somewhere deep inside the house, a floorboard echoed, slow and deliberate, like someone had just walked across the hall, but no one else was home. I stood in the attic holding the key for a long time. It wasn't fear that kept me still. It was something deeper, something quieter. Why did my father leave this for me? Why now? Why Marcus? The rain outside softened into a steady whisper, like the sky had begun thinking. I went downstairs, the photograph under my arm, the key warm in my hand from how tightly I was holding it. The house felt different now, not emptier, just stranger, almost like it was waiting. I placed the photograph gently on the dining table, next to my father's old coffee mug. The mug still had a faint ring at the bottom, as if time had paused mid-sip. I took my phone, My thumb hovered over a number I hadn't dialed in years. Marcus Hale, my father's brother. Once the loudest presence in every room, then gone. Like mist burning off morning light. Why did we stop speaking? I couldn't remember a clear moment. Just tension that grew like a vine, slowly, silently, until one day, the house felt better without him. I pressed call. The line rang once, twice, then a familiar voice. Warm, bright, practiced. Arian? Is that you? That tone? It always sounded like he knew something you didn't. It's me, I said. A brief pause. I heard about Aiden. I'm sorry. He said the words slowly, carefully, like someone choosing which emotion to show. I swallowed the knot in my throat. Marcus, were you with us at a seaside cabin once? When I was a kid? Silence. Not long, just enough to feel. Then he laughed. Soft, too soft. Ah, that place. It's been years. I didn't think you even remembered. I don't, I said. Not really. I found a photo. Another silence. Longer this time. Arian, he said quietly. What did your father tell you about that day? There was something in his voice now. Not fear. Not guilt, but measurement. Like he was listening to how much I knew. He didn't tell me anything, I said. Aiden didn't talk about it. Not once. Marcus exhaled. Your father had his reasons for keeping things buried. Buried. Not forgotten. My grip tightened around the phone. Marcus, what happened there? He didn't answer. Instead, he said, Arian, listen to me. Some truths don't help you. They only unmake you. I felt my heartbeat slow. Not speed up, slow. The way it does when you realize the ground beneath you may not be ground at all. His voice softened. If you found the photograph, then you found the key. My throat tightened. Yes, he knew. Of course he knew. What does it open? I asked, a long, careful breath. The cabin, he said. So it was real. But Arian, he continued, voice dropping, almost pleading now. If you go there, you won't come back the same. Rain tapped harder against the windows. The wind swayed the trees outside in one long, slow breath. I spoke quietly. I need to know. Marcus didn't argue. He didn't protest. He just said one thing, and it wasn't a warning. It was something else. Something sad. Then I hope you're ready to meet the part of your father he never wanted you to. See? The call ended. The house exhaled with me. I picked up the photograph again and studied. The woman in it? The fourth person? The wind in her hair? Her eyes half squinted from sunlight. Her smile small, half held. Like she knew something no one else did. Whoever she was, she mattered. And the cabin, the one I didn't remember, was waiting. Not in the past, not in memory, but in reality. Still standing. Still holding the truth. I placed the key in my pocket, and I left the house before I could change my mind. The road to the coast was quiet. Pine trees leaned inward, forming a canopy of shadows overhead. The sky was still gray from the rain. The world washed in soft silver. The cabin appeared just as it was in the photograph. Small, faded, holding its age the way old letters hold ink. The air smelled of salt and memory. For a moment, I didn't move. It felt like stepping back into a story I didn't remember living. I tightened my hand around the small brass key. The lock turned more easily than it should have, as if the door had been waiting. The hinges sighed. Not creaked, sighed, like the house remembered me. Inside, dust hovered like suspended time. A single rocking chair faced the window where the ocean was just barely visible. The waves moved slow, steady, patient, and then I heard footsteps, soft, not threatening, a woman's voice. Arian? I turned. There she was, the woman from the photograph. Older now, hair streaked with gray, but the same eyes. Eyes that held entire worlds behind them. She didn't look surprised. She looked like someone who had rehearsed this moment in her mind 1,000 times. You look like him, she said quietly. Like your father. My chest tightened. "Who are you?" I asked. She swallowed, gently, the way someone does when speaking means reopening old wounds. "My name is Lila Rowan," she said. "I was your father's closest friend." Once, friend, the word felt too small. Too careful. She gestured to sit. I didn't. My voice was steady, but softer now. "My father told me not to trust Marcus." Her eyes closed for a moment. "Long enough to mean something." "Yes," she whispered. "He had his reasons." "Tell me." The ocean filled the silence between us. Long, deep, rhythmic. Lila finally spoke. "Your father loved Marcus more than you'll ever know, but love doesn't erase what happened." She stepped toward the window, looking out at the sea. "Marcus was in trouble back then," she said. "Gambling debts. Dangerous company. He kept putting himself deeper into holes he couldn't climb out of." She paused. "Your father tried to save him. Again and again." I felt something twist inside my chest. "I remember," I said quietly. "Dad always said Marcus had storms behind his eyes." Lila smiled sadly. "He did." Then her voice broke, not loudly, just enough to be heard. "One night, Marcus got into something he couldn't undo. And your father took the blame. He did it to protect Marcus." "To protect you?" The room blurred, just a little. Everything made sense all at once. My father's quietness, his tired eyes, his long silences. He was carrying someone else's weight. My voice felt small when I asked, "So why the warning? Why tell me not to trust him?" Lila's eyes softened, full of grief that had lived a long time. "Because even though your father forgave him, Marcus never forgave himself. And guilt does strange things to love." The wind outside rose gently, brushing the windows with ocean mist. "He left," she continued, "not because he didn't love you, but because he did, and because he believed staying would only hurt you more." I sat down slowly, as if my knees had forgotten how to hold me. Grief didn't hit like lightning. It seeped, slow, quiet, like tide pulling shore. Lila walked to a small drawer and took out a folded piece of paper, edges worn soft with time. She placed it in my hand. "It's from your father," she said. "He wrote it the day he realized you would grow up and start asking questions." My heart felt too loud. I opened the letter. "Orion, if you are reading this, then the truth has reached you in its own time. I could not save Marcus from his mistakes, but I could save you from the man he was back then. Do not hate him. Hate turns the heart into a locked door. Marcus loved you. He still does. But love grows differently in wound and healing. Find him, listen, and choose who you become, not who we were. Aiden." The letter fell to my lap. Lila didn't touch me. She didn't speak. She just stood near a presence, not a pressure. The ocean kept moving, like it always had. I finally spoke. "He was trying to protect both of us." Lila nodded. "Yes, Arian. Love doesn't always look gentle. Sometimes it leaves scars to keep you whole." Tears didn't fall. Not yet. But something loosened inside me, something that had been ironed for years. A door had opened. Not to anger, not to revenge, to understanding. I drove back from the coast, with the ocean still in my veins. The sky was clearing, quiet blue, stretching open behind thinning clouds. A day that almost felt new. I didn't go home. Instead, I drove to a small diner off Highway 14, the place where Marcus and my father used to sit after fishing trips. I remembered the red sign, the flickering O in open that had never been fixed. It was strange how memory works. How it returns when you need it. I parked. My reflection in the diner window looked older than I remembered. Grief does that. Marcus was already inside. He sat with his hands around a cup of coffee, shoulders slumped, as if the weight he carried was no longer something he could hide behind charm or easy smiles. When he looked up and saw me, he didn't speak. Neither did I. I sat across from him. For a moment, we just breathed in the same old air. Marcus's voice, when it came, was quiet, rough. You went to the cabin. I nodded. And you spoke to Lila. Another nod. His eyes lowered. Everything about him looked tired. But not from running, from carrying something too heavy for too long. I took the letter from my pocket and placed it on the table. He stared at it, his throat tightening. Aiden always saw the best in me, he said, and I never learned how to live up to it. His voice trembled just once. I didn't deserve him. Or you. The diner was near empty. The air smelled like coffee and rain on asphalt. I stared at Marcus. Not the uncle who disappeared. Not the warning in the attic. But a man who had spent years drowning where no one could see him. My father loved you, I said softly. Marcus closed his eyes. I know, he whispered. That's what makes all of this hurt, I breathed, slow, steady. I don't think he wanted us to hate each other, I said. I think he wanted us to understand. Marcus looked at me, really looked. And for the first time, his eyes were not hiding. They were just human. I can't ask for forgiveness, he said. I don't know how to deserve it. I leaned back, the rain tapping lightly against the window behind me. You don't have to deserve it, I said. Just don't run anymore. The silence that followed wasn't heavy. It was release. A small, fragile peace settling between us, not perfect, not complete, but real. Marcus's voice broke softly. I missed you. Kid. I swallowed something that had lived in my chest for years. I missed you too. Not a dramatic embrace. No tears falling on shoulders. Just two men sitting in a diner letting the past breathe, and that was enough. Weeks passed. I returned to the seaside cabin often. Sometimes alone, sometimes with Marcus. We didn't talk about the past much. We didn't need to. We just let it settle. Lila visited once, stood on the shore with us. 3 lives tied together by love, mistakes, and something like forgiveness. On quiet evenings, I sit by the window of my father's house, the same one where the rain once felt heavy. Now it feels like memory, and I understand something I didn't before. Love doesn't always stay gentle, but love, real love, tries to return, even if it comes back slowly, even if it comes back carrying scars, even if it comes back as 2 men sitting quietly in a diner, learning how to begin again, and sometimes, that's enough.